Welcome in, everyone. This is Sean with MTG808 Jr., and today we are going to be recapping our first ever Youth Championship Scholarship Tournament. That's right, last Saturday, well, I guess last Saturday, May 12th, 2018, we ran our first ever Youth Championship Scholarship Tournament. The format was standard Pauper. We had 22 players show up from 5 different Magic clubs on the island, 6, I believe, different schools on the island, and we had a great tournament. Gave away $750 in scholarship prizes, $500 in first, $250 in second, and man, it was just a whirlwind of a day. We were live streaming the event. You can check out on our YouTube page the rounds that were live streamed, and as you can see, we had many smiles on everyone's faces throughout the day. Big thanks to all of our club leaders. We got Chris Tom over here at Washington Middle School, Andrew Shane in the back here from Moanalua Middle School, Dave Espina from Kapolei Middle School, not pictured in the photo, Michael Ulip from August Aarons Middle School, and then we had 2 members here from Kavaihona Public Charter Schools Gaming Club, hosted by Luca Barcinella. So, big thanks to everyone that put in the work to make this possible. The kids had a great time, I had a great time, and we have some standard Pauper results to go over today. We're going to be taking a look at our top 4 deck lists. Here is our top 8. We're only going to be looking at 4 of the top 8 decks today. We will be covering the other 4 in our next video. But in first place, we had Kyle right here playing mono white. And Christian came in second place playing mono red. And then in third place we had Julian playing Grixis, or blue black red artifacts, holding his 4 ornithopters there. And then in fourth place we had Jeffrey playing black-red pirates with his Buccaneers bravado. So we're going to be taking a look at those decks today. Once again, congratulations to Kyle and Christian for winning $500 and $250 in scholarship, respectively. We are going to have all of these text lists of the decks posted in the section, in the description of this video below, so check those out if you want to look at the deck lists. But for now, we are going to just look over here on Magic Online. So Kyle's been playing this mono white deck list for a while. The week before the scholarship tournament, he took this deck to a first place finish at our West Side tournament. His twin brother Troy was also playing, I think, this exact same deck. His brother came in 9th. He bubbled, came in 9th on tiebreakers, unfortunately. But they both saw Kyle having success with this list. Both decided to play it for the scholarship tournament, and it's just a very solid list. My first criticism is that it's 62 cards. You really want to keep your decks to 60 cards for statistical reasons. You want to maximize your odds of drawing your best cards. So, trimming it back down to 60 cards, I think would be the first thing that I would do in this list. But he is playing some spicy ones. One of the big differences between this list and his previous list is he's playing the full 4 Moment of Triumph. He only had 2 in his deck list the week before, but he correctly identified that 1 mono combat tricks are just a great way to kind of swing the game, get some tempo on your opponent, and he actually decided to play the full 4 Moment of Triumph before playing the Short Sword / Honkopesh slot. So he identified that the combat trick is more important than having the staying power of the equipment. And I build my mono white deck differently than this, but the results say that he was onto something with this approach. The other inclusion that we haven't really seen in every mono white deck so far is Dauntless Haven. 3 mana, 2/1 flying. Whenever it attacks, you can untap target creature you control. He's got 12 exert creatures in his deck, so if you attack with Talkrop Elite and Dauntless Haven in the same attack step and you exert the Talkrop Elite, Dauntless Haven can immediately untap it. So it's like you get the exert bonus for free. So Dauntless Haven, some good synergy in his deck. He is playing 10 3-drops, which is one of the reasons why he has to play 22 lands in his deck. But the Dauntless Haven is a strong card. It's only got 1 toughness, so it will die to stuff like Dual Shot. He does have a couple of 1 toughness creatures in his deck. But besides that, Dauntless Haven is a very solid card. So my other piece of criticism for him is that I think that Compulsory Rest is just better than Revoke Privileges. There aren't that many vehicles in the format. Like, there are a few, but just paying 1 less for your pacifism effect, right, and your removal, your enchantment-based removal. Compulsory Rest costs only 2. It does let them pay 2 to sack the creature to gain 2 life, but they have to take time off, spend their mana to do that. Compulsory Rest, I think, just lets this deck kind of keep pushing damage through better, which is what the deck wants to do. But this deck was great. Congratulations to Kyle once again. And we're going to move on to Christian's mono-red deck here. I believe that this is almost the exact same list that he played the week before to second place. I don't think he changed very much. These last 2 cards here are mountains. So let's just get these mountains over here. Okay, so the last 2 cards here are mountains. But once again, we see a very, very low curve. A bunch of creatures, 25 creatures, a bunch of cheap removal spells with Shock and Lightning Strike, but also cheap combat tricks with Built to Smash and Cartouche of Zeal, and Renegade Tactics. One of the problems that I have with this deck is that the 1 mana spells kind of a lot of them kind of lose their utility later in the game, and don't have a ton of staying power. So the way that Christian lost a game, did they go to 3 games? The way that he lost the last game of the finals was he kept a really shaky hand. I think it was 4 lands, a Fanatical Firebrand, a Cartouche of Zeal, a Renegade Tactics. It might have been 3 lands in those. It was for sure those 3 cards. So it might have been, 4 lands, Firebrand, Cartouche of Zeal, Renegade Tactics. And for a deck that's mostly playing 1 and 2 drops, 4 lands is already kind of a lot. So I was looking over his shoulder and thinking he should have mulliganed that hand. He did think about it for a significant amount of time, ultimately decided to keep the hand. But, because he did have a turn 1 play, I think he was on the play that game. He had 2 cheap spells that he could cast, but these spells don't really have that huge of an impact on the game. Like, Cartouche of Zeal is good if you can curve out with it, play your 3-drop on turn 4 and stick a Cartouche on it to keep their guy from blocking and crunch through for a bunch of damage. But if you're just putting it on a 1/1 that is going to turn it into a 2/2, you're not really getting a full card's value out of this card. Renegade Tactics at least replaces itself, but I think he ended up having to use this card to just try to draw a card, to try to hit creatures. He hit some lands in his first couple draw steps, and then just kind of lost to Kyle's curve of 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop. So these 1-drops kind of fall off. Bloodlust Insider is great on turn 1, really bad on turn 3 or 4. Cartouche of Zeal, I've already talked about how I don't think these cards are worth an entire card, in the mid to late game. So that's one of the knocks against this particular build of Mono Red. But Christian's been playing it for a while. He knew how to play the deck. He knew his matchups. And he actually beat Kyle in the Swiss and then lost to him in the finals. So, this deck has legs for sure. Moving on. Julian's Grixis Affinity deck. This is a spicy meatball. He didn't register his sideboard. Julian he plays competitive Magic in multiple other formats. So he plays Draft, Standard, Modern. I think he plays Pauper, right? So Julian is very, very familiar with the game of Magic, and he's kind of approached the Standard Pauper format as just like a chance to brew. And I give him props for coming with this deck. It is we haven't seen anybody we haven't seen anybody have success with a 3-color mono base before, and Julian pulled it off. He came in 4th place. He did lose to Kyle in the semifinals. He kept a 1-lander with 2 pieces of equipment on the play and didn't draw a second land for the rest of the game. So that was game 2. He lost game 1 and then kept a 1-lander in game 2 and didn't really get to play Magic. But, for the rest of the day, this deck, it did a lot of work. He's choosing to play 11 equipments, right? 4 Hon Kopesh, 4 Short Sword, 3 Inventor's Goggles. So a bunch of equipment, and then a bunch of guys that wear equipment really well. Reckless Fireweaver likes it when you're playing equipment. It wears equipment very well. It's got a big butt, so, throwing some equipment on it will make it a good blocker, a decent attacker. Salivating Gremlins also likes it when you play the artifact equipment spells, making it a little bit bigger. I do think that he should maybe be playing more Bastion Inventors, since he's playing all these cheap artifacts. Having a little more payoff here. I'm not a big fan of Ornithopter in the format in general. Like, it does wear equipment reasonably well, and it has flying. It is a free trigger for your Reckless Fireweavers and Salivating Gremlins. It will tap for a mana for your improvised creatures, but I just don't know if it's really worth a card slot here. My other criticism of this deck would be that he's playing 3 blue cards, so I think that the deck could easily have been trimmed down to two colors, either cutting blue or just playing cutting. He could very easily have cut the black and played more blue, played more Bastion Inventors. Sweatworks Brawler is another card that could have been in this deck, but for all the options that this archetype has of the artifact synergies, there's a lot of different ways to build this deck. Julian chose this way, and it landed him a 4th place finish on our tournament. So congratulations to Julian for coming up with this spicy meatball. All right, and the final deck in our top 4, rounding it out right here, Jeffrey playing Hopefully Pirates. This was a really interesting deck. Jeffrey was messaging me the week leading up to the tournament, asking me for feedback on his lists. I think that he got this list to like a really good place in terms of just like identifying the best cards for the archetype and maxing out on those cards. Oddly enough, he is not playing Pirate's Cutlass, which is a 3 mana equipment. Costs 2 to equip normally to give a creature +2/+1, but if when you play it, you can attach it to a pirate for free. So and all of his creatures here are pirates. So usually all the pirate decks that we've seen have been playing that card, but Jeffrey decided to go with Strider Harness as his equipment. It's 3 mana and 1 to equip. The equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has haste. That haste part is really important because the pirate deck doesn't really play that well from behind, right? Headstrong Brute can't block at all. Fathom Fleet Boarder might lose you some life when you play it, right? Trailblazer isn't the best blocker. Run Amok only works when you're attacking. Grasping Scoundrel only gets his bonus when you're attacking, right? The deck is really just trying to fire off a big giant Buccaneers Bravado and kill the opponent as fast as possible. So, I was skeptical of Jeffrey's choice to include Strider Harness here, but I didn't get to watch too many of his games, so I don't know how it played out. But he, when I asked him about it after the tournament, he said that the haste clause was quite relevant, and he didn't really miss having the Pirate's Cutlass here. So props to Jeffrey for taking some innovation on an otherwise kind of solidified archetype. We have seen red-blue Pirates do well in the hands of Naya. He lost to Kyle playing for top 8. So he and Kyle played in the last round, and the winner made top 8. So, Blue-Red Pirates was definitely at the tournament. It was a contender, and, we've seen that list kind of stay the same in Naya's hands. But props to Jeffrey for having some innovation. One other thing, I convinced Naya to make this change to his deck as well before this tournament, but Run Amok with Buccaneers Bravado is a really good synergy. So give your pirate +3/+3 and trample. The trample part is important because when you give it double strike, then the second strike of damage will still trample over the creature. So this is a nice little combo here, Buccaneers Bravado, Run Amok on your very aggressive creatures. earned Jeffrey a 4th place finish. He lost to Christian in the top 4 match. So the mono red deck kind of just went under the pirate deck. The pirate deck does not block very well. The mono red deck just kind of got a jump on it. I think Jeffrey got mono screwed in one of the games that they played, but you know, this deck is very solid. I think I like his sideboard. He's got a lot of good options here. Shatter, Dual Shot for the red decks, Duress for the slow decks, Dark Bargain for the slow decks, and then Fathom Fleet Cutthroat lets him keep his pirate count high but still have outs to big giant green creatures. So that is our top 4. We will be doing another video shortly with our the rest of our top 8, so stay tuned for that. Before we wrap up here, just want to make an announcement to any of our Oahu players, especially the youth players. Good guy Steven Pearson, who used to live here on Oahu, has since moved to the mainland. He runs his own online shop, you know, buying and selling cards. He is very well loved in the community. Is back in Hawaii for vacation and is running a free draft over at The Planet this Saturday. What is that? Saturday, May 26th. So May 26th, Saturday, there will be a free draft happening at The Planet. It starts at noon, and it's the first 50 players get to draft for free. I don't think there's going to be any prizes, but you will get to keep the packs. And then they will be hosting a $5 Commander pod tournament starting at 4. So, you know, if any of you youth players out there on Oahu are interested in attending that, please stop on by. Steven Pearson's a good guy. I don't think I will be playing, but I will possibly be stopping in. I might be playing a tournament online that morning. All right, so thank you for stopping by. I hope that you know, you have gotten a lot out of our content. And just want to take some time here at the end to say thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers. Our Youth Championship Scholarship Tournament would not have been possible without our very generous donations from our Patreon subscribers. Those of you who don't know, Patreon is a voluntary subscription service. You choose how much you want to donate a month, and then all of our donors get access to our monthly expenditure report. If you donate a significant amount, you will get some other cool bonuses. We are going to be updating some of our contributor bonuses in the coming weeks. We did add a new stretch goal here for the Patreon. So if we hit a $400 a month threshold of donations, so we're about $109 away from that. If we hit $400 a month, we'll be running 2 championship scholarship tournaments a year. So one in the winter and then one in spring, summer. So, you know, if you want to support Youth Magic on Oahu, this is a great way to do it. My current plan is, even if we don't hit this stretch goal, we're going to run the December scholarship tournament. And then if we hit the stretch goal by May of next year, then we will run the second one. So, you know, please, you know, let your friends know. If you want to, you know, hit that like button, you know, share our content, become a Patreon subscriber yourself. Let your friends know about our project if you think they might want to support it. And yeah, thanks for stopping by, and let us know what you think of the decks. Let us know what you think of the project. We will be posting a new video shortly covering the other 4 decks, and we will catch you later. Ciao.